Everyone. So the Lakers' mission this upcoming offseason is centers, right? They need, in my opinion, two centers. They need a clear-cut starting level center, and then they need a backup center. Right now, draft combine in Chicago, and Dan Woke recently did an article talking about kind of the view of the Lakers amongst other execs and stuff like that, and kind of like what they anticipate the Lakers to do and whatnot. Even some kind of opinions on the Lakers hiring a conditioning coach and stuff. Kind of different varying opinions from execs there. But one of the things that he talked about in that article that I thought was very interesting, that I actually think is a very good point, and that is the draft potentially opening up other center options for the Lakers, right? Some of these teams have, top picks with several centers that could make some sense. Obviously, Malik from the Duke Blue Devils, if he ends up getting drafted, one of the things that Dan Woke spoke about was that, like, hey, there's a couple guys, like, again, the Duke center, that's like, hey, he might be too good of a prospect to pass up, even if we already have a center or two centers. So what that could do is, for example, let's say a team ends up drafting that center, right? Well, then now they might look to trade their center. So that could potentially open up, and again, continue down the line, with the 13th pick in the draft, or, the 17th pick in the draft, and so on and so forth. If the top guy is a center, then that could go, hey, you know what? We should take this guy. We really like this guy. And maybe we can look to flip our current center or something like that for the right price, right? And you saw a great example was Portland, right? They took Donovan Clegan, but they had Ayton, and then same thing with the Utah Jazz. They go and they already have Walker Kessler, and then they go and get a center, right? Like, so you kind of look at these various teams, and it's like, hey, if the right guy is there, and that right guy or the best player available is a center, these teams might end up taking that said center and then thus going, hey, let's move off our center, and that's where the Lakers can come in. Now, he did say that the two most likely are still Nick Claxton, probably at the top of the list, and that's primarily because, the Brooklyn Nets, we know what Brooklyn wants, and we know what Brooklyn wants to do, right? They want, if they can't get Giannis, they want expiring contracts, and they want to kind of bottom out and hit the reset button and get off as much salary as possible. Well, Nick Claxton has a sizable contract, right? He's making like $75 million over the next 3 years. Now, his contract does drop each year, which is beneficial, especially when you're talking the new CBA and those margins, right? $2 million could be the difference between you being a second apron team or a first apron team, and give you the flexibility for other things. We did highlight, though, that, like, hey, with Nick Claxton, the big concern is just his weight, right? He's 215, right? And then also, the last 2 years, his production hasn't been great. Now, his field goal percentage is still fantastic. He's around 70, almost 71%, but his production has dropped. Part of that, though, I think has been the Brooklyn Nets in general and kind of the direction that they went. I don't think it's a coincidence that as soon as they started tanking for the bottom, his production kind of dropped, his minutes dropped, right? Like, they didn't have a true playmaker for some time. They were going with their other guys, right? Like, so, like Clowney and guys like that. So to me, I'm not, the only concern I have with Claxton is, again, the weight, right? Him being 215, I mean, he's not that sizable physical guy. Obviously, Daniel Gafford, he's somebody that, again, Dan Woke touched on. He is a guy that is proven alongside Luka and just has more weight to him. He's a guy that has the weight you're looking for to bang with the big fellas, right? But at the end of the day, it's about what's available, what's realistic, and what doesn't break the bank. Because the Lakers have other needs. If the Lakers were just like, hey, we need a center and that's it, then yeah, fine. Go get whoever you can, right? Go get Claxton or something like that. Now, I don't think the Lakers need a superstar center, right? Like, I don't think they need like a Joel Embiid or something like that, assuming he was healthy, right? I don't think they need anything crazy like that. I think they just need a serviceable big man. They need somebody that can rebound, block shots, defend, right? And be that lob threat. If you can get a guy that can do those things, perfect. I don't think you need a guy that can cross people up, hit the step back, little 15-footer jumper. Yes, it'd be nice to kind of have the versatility, right? Like say a Mark Williams, if the Lakers were to revisit the Mark Williams trade, right? Which again could be a thing if the Charlotte Hornets end up drafting, Malik or another center or something like that, then again, Mark Williams, they're already expected to move him this offseason. That might even be more incentive. And, if the Lakers are kind of the best in the market, and especially if they really like Dalton Knecht, that could change things, right? So again, like I would love to have a Mark Williams, and I do and again, if you can get a skilled big, if you can get a guy that can be the lob threat, but also self-create, then beautiful, right? If you can get the best of both worlds, absolutely. I'm not saying don't do you just go get a floor. No, if you can, if that's an option out there, then yeah, right? If you can get a quality youthful big, right? If you get a Walker Kessler, right, or something like that, or like I said, a Mark Williams or something, beautiful. Go do that. Go make that happen. But I don't think that is this major necessity. Right? I don't think it's like, man, if we don't have a skill big, we're cooked. No, I just think you need a guy that can help rebound, and then you're going to go get those skill guys out on the perimeter. You're going to go get those two-way 3-and-D guys that can knock down the three ball with consistency, guys that can defend in multiple positions and whatnot, right? Like but you need that defensive anchor at the center spot, right? So I'm fine with Nic Claxton as that defensive anchor because he is one of the better defensive centers in the league. He's a guy who go get you 2 blocks a game. Also, there's more incentive, right? So a couple things about the Nic Claxton thing, right? A lot of people's big concern is the weight. Again, I agree. I'm in the same boat, right? I do have concerns about that weight. But his mobility and what he is great at is exactly what this team needs and exactly what would benefit Luka, right? His ability to run the floor, be mobile, be that lob threat, put him in the dunker spot, be a cutter, right? Like you can put him out on the wing and, try to draw it out and then have him just, because he is quick and he is able to, backdoor and people aren't paying attention. Boom, he's there, easy lob threat, or Luka's navigating and they're running pick and roll action, all of that, right? Like there are benefits to Nic Claxton. And then on the defensive side of things, his ability to defend in the pick and roll, defend out in space. That's a big problem. A lot of big men, they struggle. They might be excellent shot blockers. They might even be able to defend in the pick and roll. But when they're on an island, can they stay out there and defend? You see a lot of big men that can't do all three. Nic Claxton is one of those guys that can do all three, right? So that, I think, is very beneficial to a team like the Lakers. And then, you can always go get a more, beefier center, right? Like you can always go get a guy that, maybe has, a Clint Capella or something like that. Somebody that has a little more weight to him, a Steven Adams, right? A guy that has a little more weight to him that now, if in a pinch, you're playing Denver and you got Jokic, right? One, you got to keep in mind, because of how mobile Nic Claxton is, a guy like Jokic still has to defend Nic Claxton. He still has to, keep an eye on him and move around with him and stuff. And if he's just kind of over here, now I'm over here, now I'm over here, now I'm over here, if you keep him constantly moving, right, that's an advantage for the Lakers, right? Because now whoever the center is has to kind of match that. But, there are going to be spots where it's like, hey, you just need somebody that can just kind of lean on and wear down Jokic over a 7-game series or whatever. And then that's where you could get, like I said, a Clint Capella or somebody that can really kind of, do that and be more physical of a matchup. Again, obviously Daniel Gafford I would prefer Daniel Gafford, right? Both guys have similarities, but Daniel Gafford is bigger, right? You already know the relationship with Luka. You already know that it works and fits. So ideally, if you could get something like that, I'd still entertain, a Mark Williams trade if that's still a possibility. I know some people think Charlotte wouldn't do it. Charlotte's going to want the best package that they can get. At the end of the day, they're going to want something. Also, what does Mark Williams want? Because he's going in a contract year, right? Does Mark Williams even want to go to the Lakers now, right? But if he's that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to prove myself, right? And, you can kind of coat things over, right? And again, it's business at the end of the day. These organizations, these teams know, they're not, you see all the time, you hear this team would never trade with that team, and then they end up trading. The Nets would never trade Mikal Bridges to the Knicks. Oh, well, guess what? He's on the Knicks, right? So, Dallas would never trade Luka to the Lakers. Well, guess what? Lakers have Luka, right? Again, these teams understand it. These teams get it. But the draft could be kind of a opportunity for the Lakers to open up other trade options. And really, you can make that argument not just at the center position, but really any position, but the center is obviously the biggest need, and there's kind of this look and this thought of like, hey, there's a very limited pool here, very limited number of centers that the Lakers could potentially acquire. But again, this draft that is looked at as a deep draft with many different skill positions and whatnot, and guys that could be stars even in later rounds, or, there's not to mention there's always that diamond in the rough that like somebody just finds, and it's like, the 19th pick in the draft ends up becoming, one of the 3 best players in the draft or whatever, or a second round pick, right? Like Jokic was drafted during, what was it, like a Taco Bell commercial, right? So you never know. You never know. It is a gamble. It is a lottery, right? So yeah, you never know how these players are going to end up becoming. But I do agree that this is a great opportunity. But as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question. You let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So I enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.